the ass takes you out of the frame. Put your name to shame, cover up your face. You can't run the race, the pace is too fast, you just won't last. I'm so sick of attention, sick of hunger, sick of you acting like a hopeless. Find another place to feed your greed while I find a place to rest.
Right then, we are back out fishing. Not on the bank as such yet, although I guess the car park of the lake can be classed as on the bank, so we're back at Phil's. I was here about I don't know, a week or so ago, I think it was. Come up with Hugh. We did 2 nights and blanked. And Hugh did have a bite on the first morning after putting it on a show and fish the day before. Unfortunately, got cut off on something. So we made sure the bailiffs were aware, and hopefully they're going to have a look with a boat when the weather gets a bit better and they can see properly. And if there's something down there, we'll obviously drag it out. So anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm in a car park. The weather is pants. Good for fishing. Pants for actually doing anything or getting set up. It's been raining pretty much all night, really. Someone on the weekend had a proper session. There was, I think there were quite a few on the weekend, but one guy down on the point, he had 19 fish in 2 days, and they were pretty much all on one rod. And he reckoned the fish were in the weed, or over the back of the weed, which is where he was getting them from. Now, the wind is actually pushing up this end towards the car park, which it hasn't done when I've been here. So it is actually a completely different wind, which I fished it on. The thing is, though, if the fish are holding up in the weed, I don't know if the wind is actually going to move them. I haven't found a wind to actually do that much so far, so I'm not too sure. Let's leave it there and let's go out in the elements. Hopefully I can get one this time. So Hugh's not around. Hugh seems to be bad luck at the moment, so hopefully with him not being there I can catch one. So let's see what happens. See you in a bit. Yeah. We are in. God, strange, that didn't even do anything. And this is a bream. There's I've had a big bream out of here, so maybe it could be a big bream. Holy crap, I think that's bigger than my last. Got another double bubble, a little bit different this time. I've got a carp in that one, sulking, and a giant bream in that one. I'm not quite sure how big that bream is, but I think it's bigger than the one I had last year, so that could be the PB. Anyway, I was just about to get the carp out, so I'm going to get the carp out, get the photos done, and then we'll have a look at that tank. So I'm a couple of hours into a two-nighter. Just put some singles out to some showing fish. Got here quite early. There's a big show, and lo and behold, one of the singles has gone off. The old faithful hinge stiff rig. I've recast this one twice, and it's gone off after putting it on top of a show. So it's a lovely little fish, about mid doubles. Lovely little scaly one. I've also got another one in the net. It's not a carp. It's a bream, and it looks like a bit of a special one. So I am looking forward to getting that out and having a look. But yeah, lovely carp. Beautiful fish. Cracking. Beautiful fish. Look at that. Cracker. There she goes. Right, there we go. So about £10.2, just over the magical £10 mark. This is my second double figure bream. There's a small shoal of them in here, so on a solid bag, on the old plastic Fantastic. So clearly these guys are woken up. It's a good sign actually that the fish are woken up and starting to feed. That I'm getting bream pick up the baits now. So there's clearly a few of these chunks in here. So cracking fish. Lovely. Let's get a few snaps and we'll slip her by. Chunky monster, eh? Right, in the evening. We're getting into the evening now. And I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update. So basically it's gone quiet since I had those fish earlier. I decided to spend a bit of time having a little feed around with the lead, seeing if I could find a feature to fish to. I started off 100 yards, just had it clipped up at that. A lot of the fish have been coming out from the middle. I've sort of gently sort of drawn it back and sort of cast around in a fan motion just to try and find something out there worth putting a rod on, really. What I found is there's quite a lot of weed out further. But as I come back to about 27 wraps, it goes a bit smoother, and I've not been bringing back any weed on the lead either. I started off with one of these sort of Korda style leads, which has obviously got the little notches on them, and I was bringing back a little bit of weed on that. But as soon as I come back into the softer patch around the sort of 27 wrap mark, it was coming back pretty clean, maybe the odd strand now and then. Just to confirm it, I put out one of these big Fox leads with a big sort of grappling style spikes on them, and again I was bringing that back and that was pretty much coming back clean, maybe the occasional bit of weed on there, but nothing of any sort of quantity of such. So with that in mind, I decided to put a bit of bait on there. I've gone about 12-15 spawns. Didn't quite count how many I put out there because at the time Jeff, one of the bailiffs, was actually here trying to sky the brew off me, so I wasn't actually counting what I was putting out, but I'd say about 12 to 15. Mostly boilies. I've put a little bit of pellet in there as well, and I also put a little bit of a bit of glug stuff over the top of it, mixed with some boiling water just to sort of soak in and get these sort of flavours pumping out. That's the tactics. Hopefully it's going to work. Over the top of it, going with the Old Faithful. I've got a hinge stiff with a soft boom. I'm using a soft boom so that way it's going to sit over any sort of detritus on the bottom. Like I said, there might be the odd bit of weed strand out there, or some on the bottom, so it just gives me a little bit of security that if that does hit anything, the pop-up's still going to be able to sit up high, free of any detritus on the bottom, and ready to nail a fish. Obviously the section on the end is just a little chod style link. These are obviously homemade ones that I do myself. That's why they're nice and low. That's why I like to have them dry at the time. And I got a 16mm pop-up on there. That's just sort of a fruity flavoured pop-up, which I'm just going to use over the top, mainly just for a bit of attraction. Hopefully the fish are drawing on that bright pop-up and nail it. Leg clip, standard leg clip. This is one of the Korda ones. I like the ones with loops on the end. I'm not quite sure what they're called, but they're nice and easy to take on and off, and I can switch between sort of solid bags or leg clip arrangements or whatever, nice and easy. So that's their presentation. I'm going to get it clipped up, sling it out on the spot, and hopefully we can get a fish for the camera for the evenings. Someone's after a brew. What are you up to, mate? I wouldn't see there. Right, morning. So unfortunately it's been a little bit of an uneventful night. So when I say uneventful, I had a bite. Unfortunately it managed to do me in something. There was a bit of structure out in this swim, an old sunken cage. The cages were used to try and create some form of sort of natural harbour for life, basically, to sort of supply the fish with food, also to generally sort of try and improve the ecosystem. One of them had sunk at some point, and it had been on the bottom for quite a few years, and it had sort of rusted out and just collected a load of weed and silt and just sort of slowly sank into the bottom. So the bailiffs dragged it out a few weeks back. I've got a feeling there's potentially something else out there, because I had a bite, it's cut around to the left, and it's basically got stuck in something. I've left it there, and eventually it's just there's just nothing there. So eventually it's actually cut me off. I was sort of putting a bit of tension on it, just sort of holding it there, seeing if it had come through it, and it's eventually just sort of cut through the line. So it's probably something similar, or maybe just a bit they didn't manage to get, or something a bit maybe drifted off of it, and I don't know, but it's definitely something else out there which has clearly lost me a fish. Other than that though, the fish haven't been showing like they were yesterday. I didn't see anything last night. I haven't really seen anything this morning. I haven't seen anything really show anywhere, so not even to sort of indicate maybe they're in a different area and it's worth a move. They just haven't been showing, so it's a little bit disappointing. I know there's a few guys turned up today. They're doing a bit of a social debate list with one of the organisers at Embryo, so I think a few swims to get filled up. It might just be a case of I'm going to have to just sit on my hands, and hopefully some fish will come into the swim. But I'm going to keep my eyes open. I'm going to have some breakfast, and hopefully I'll see something to give away where they are, and maybe I can move on it. just a bit of an update for you. I've seen a fish show sort of out this direction, so I've just lobbed a solid bag out that way. The baited spot, which is sort of out here, there's been nothing showing out there. I had that fish on it this morning, which obviously cut me off, fortunately, but other than that, not much is really happening. I'm pretty much just chain drinking tea and coffee. Found my breakfast, which was a bit of bacon, sausage, beans and an egg, so typical bank life breakfast. And other than that, nothing's really happening. The conditions are still pretty similar, not as much rain today. It's just very damp, moist air. It's like a low-lying sort of misty, I don't even know what you call it, but it's kind of got that real dampness in the air. It's quite mild. Wind, little bit of a chill to it, but just because it's that time of year, we know it's spring, early spring, and it's just not got that warmth in it yet, really. There's not a lot else to go on though. There's not really anything showing other than that one fish I've just put that rod towards, so I can't really do much else other than sit my hands really and just look for fish and hope something happens. So hopefully that spot will kick off at some point. Maybe some fish drift on it and I get a bite or two. I've kept little and often a couple of spots every now and then going out there, so possibly that will produce a fish. I just wanted to show you this over here. If you come this way, just come with me over here. So I got cut off. I thought I'd show you what I got cut off on, or potentially. So this big cage thing here used to be out in the lake. It used to float on the surface, and it created like a bit of a structure for the water life, that sort of thing. I think the idea was that it was going to create sort of more food in the water, possibly, I don't know. But that was out on the bottom, and that's what they dragged in with the aid of that thing and some rope and a load of other stuff, I think, and they basically dragged it in. I got a feeling that was potentially out there as well. These were somewhere, I'm not sure where these were, whether they were out in the water or not, but obviously they've brought in quite a lot of stuff. It used to be a club lake, so there's quite a lot of stuff sort of just dumped in. That obviously sank. It wasn't supposed to be on the bottom, it was on the surface floating, and it sunk down, and yeah, they dragged it out. So I think I got cut off on something quite similar to that. Take you in for a close-up, but you can see it's basically just a big heavy-duty steel cage. So you're going to quite easily get cut off on something like that. You know, you can just see it's all sort of rusted out. Quite easy to cut through the line now. So I think that is potentially what could be out there. Maybe a small bit of that, or something separate altogether. But yeah, a bit gutting. But anyway, like I said, I got until tomorrow morning, so hopefully one of these guys is going to go rattling off, and we'll get ourselves another fish. But if not, you know what, I've had a £10 bream and a little mid-double, so to be honest, I'm actually still pretty happy with that, even if I don't get anything else. It's just funny that it comes so early in the session, but it's just how it is sometimes. Anyway, I still feel like I should be getting bites. That's why I'm a little bit frustrated. The weather's mild, it looks really good for it. I don't know why it's not going off, but I'm going to give it a little bit longer because it's still quite early. It's only about sort of 9:30, I think. I think a little bit later I'm going to probably try some zigs. I'm also going to do a little bit of work to put a bit of bark down in one that swims down the bottom there. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. See, come on fish, hurry up and give me a bite. Come on. Oh well, we'll see what happens. Just having a bit of a snooze. As you can see, I've got the session cam on my hat. Can only mean one thing: I got woken up. Actually, I say I got woken up. I was actually awake. I'd literally just stirred, I was just sat there thinking, oh, this is quite nice lead here. And then I suddenly heard the dee 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 dee, and the rod I'd put, not very good lighting. There we go. The rod I'd put on the on that showing fish was absolutely purring off. Anyway, I've put the rod back out. Got one sulking in a net. Get in. Boom. Oh, lovely fish. Like I said, lovely chunky old fish. Full of beans this one, put up a much better scrap than that last fish. Real scrapped around, and seemed to have a lot of energy, which is good. But yeah, lovely lovely chap. Got a solid set. Definitely put on some weight this one, whichever lake he ends up in. I don't know if he's meant to be in this one or not, but we'll have a look in a bit. But yeah, lovely. Let's turn around and have a look at the other side. But nice fish. Happy with that. Nice to get another bite. I think I'm going to start using solid bags looking at it, because the fish I don't think are in any particular location. I think it's just a case of casting them around and hoping you fall on some fish. So anyway, let's get her back, see if we can get another one. Right, we've got another one. Solid bag again, left hand rod again. Clearly the fish are slightly out towards the left at the moment. Maybe they've backed off that wind a little bit, I don't know. I've seen one show not long after having this fish on actually, so could be that the fish are just a bit further down that way. But lovely fish. It's only a little one, well, say they've all been little ones, but it's a little bit smaller again to be honest. It's just shy of about 14 pounds, just sort of upper 13s I'd say, but it's a common and it's a real angry one, but it's got a lovely frame. Look at that, got sort of lovely proportion. Angry old common. But I'm happy with that anyway. Nice fish. They're all solid bags. And there's the other side. Like I said, lovely, lovely proportioned fish. Awesome. Oh, wow, she's gone. Fish number 4 having a sulk. Fishing out to the left of the swim now. The old tram line's going out that way. Just fishing single solid bags. The wind's coming from left to right, as you can see. I've got a bait spot out towards this tree, but the fish are coming out more over this direction. I just don't think they're on the big areas of bait at the moment. Well, I've only put 12-15 spoms out, but there's been fish showing out sort of over here today, sort of between sort of 60 and 100 yards, sort of in that central area really. About average size for in here I think at the moment. For the stockies are about £16. This one's literally about £16. There you go, fish number 4. There you go, fish number 4. Again, solid bags, working well. Nice fish. Can't knock that, you know. 16-pounder. Nice little scrap. Nice. Just solid bag, bit of plastic. I'm using a large maize plastic Korda stuff as balanced as well with my size 5. Just lifts off the bottom slightly so they can suck it up really easy. But, yeah, nice one. Rods are back out. All 3 on solid bags, all slightly to the left of the swim, out towards the pylons on the far side. You're not going to be able to see it on here, you can just make them out. There you go, the pylons over there, they're kind of out in that direction. All solid bags. 2 are sort of, I've just launched them long, and one of them's a little bit shorter. On the right hand side is a little bit shorter. I've had 3 fish out over that way today, so hopefully I'm going to get a few more going into the evening. It's don't know, it's about 3:30, 4 o'clock, so still got 3 or 4 hours before it gets dark. But hopefully this evening should produce a few more fish, considering the fact that I've had a few in the day. So might not, you know, nothing might happen, I don't know, but I would have thought I would have got at least a couple more, considering the fact that I've been getting them in the day. So anyway, that is the situation. I'm running out of water because I managed to knock over the kettle a couple of times, so I'm running that a little bit low on water, but I'm only here until the morning. I've got to be off by 10 o'clock, then the weekend ticket starts, so I've literally just got sort of the evening, a few hours in the morning where I probably want to brew, so I can grab a coffee on the way home, and there we go. So anyway, gonna sit back and chill out for a bit, and hopefully we get another one. Right, morning then. So unfortunately it's been a quiet night, no fish for me. I don't know if the guys on the other bank had anything. They shot off quite early. I imagine they've all got to go to work. I got in a bag about 10:30, 11ish. Pretty much slept all the way through till 6. I had an alarm set for 6. I was going to get up and sort of watch the water, see if I could see anything show. To be fair, I was still knackered, so I gave myself an extra hour. It's now about 20 to 8, just having a brew. And I'm going to just recast all the rods quick, fresh bags, get some fresh scent in the water, going to inject them as well with some flavour just to give it a boost. And I've got about 2 hours and then I'm going to have to go, so I've got to be off by 10. So yeah, that's the scores really. I'm going to get it all done, get a fresh rods out there. Hopefully that sort of burst of attraction might induce a bite before I go. Let's hope for the best. See you in a bit. Right then, pretty much just the rods are out. As you can see, the brolly is now gone and the barrow's got a mountain of gear on it. I can't believe how much gear I've been bringing lately. It's not actually that much, to be honest, but I brought quite a big bag of clothes with me this time, as I thought I was going to be doing some work, and I got so hot last time that it would have been nice to have a change of clothing. So that big bag on top is actually full of clothes, and waterproofs, because the first day was really wet. But I didn't really end up needing any of it. So yeah, I've just got the rods out. I've seen a couple of fish showing further down again, so I've recast the left and middle rod down that way, left the right rod out. I actually had it out on the bait last night. I just thought, you know, I've put all that bait out there, surely at some point someone's got to come and have a look, but it just doesn't look like they're on it. I mean, a few people have been catching fish on bait, but it just doesn't look like they're really having it. So I think they go through spells, like when the weather's really good, which, to be fair, the session has been pretty good weather for fishing. I would have thought they'd be switching on and having a bit of a munch, but it just doesn't seem to be. I mean, my fish have come on bags. I had one bite actually on the bait, which is a fish that cut me off as it kited round. But there we go. Right, rods are on the deck. Fish have been showing down the other end off the point, so I got a feeling they might have moved down that way again. Obviously the lake's gone flat calm, wind's no longer pushing up to here, so I think with that the fish have probably done one, gone down the other end. I think if I was turning up now, I would probably be suggesting guys getting in down there. But yeah, there we go. Done the best we can. 4 carp, 1 bream, and then I've got cut off by 1, so that's a bit unfortunate. I'm going to let the bailiffs know there seems to be some sort of a snag still out there, so that's going to need to be sorted out. Anyway, if you're going out the weekend, tight lines. To be fair, by the time this goes up, you probably already would have been out, but tight lines anyway. I'm not out the weekend, I'm spending some time with the other half. I'll be out next week, so hopefully I get a few, but yeah, it's been good, enjoyed it. Looking forward to getting out next week. So anyway, until then, thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you're a new viewer. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Get out there and have you.